So this is a video for making a light source, or some people call it the flaming chair. So to start with, there's a background image. You need to download it, or you can find your own. There's a fireball. You can find other things that would work. I'm just happening to use something that's a fire source. And we're going to do this in Photopea. New project. Set it to inches. I'm going to set mine to 6 inches by 6 inches with a resolution of 150. You can make it 5 by 7 if you want. Then I'm going to open and place my background. I am going to move it away from the windows a little bit. You can decide if you want to put it dead center or not. You can roll it like this. It's up to you. For this, you don't need to rasterize, but if you want to, you can. Again, that's just a right click, and then rasterize, or it's up in layer. First thing, to make a light source apparent, we got to make the room a little bit darker. So to do that, we're going to adjustments. One way of doing it is through brightness. So it's taking light away from the image. Again, you can lower the contrast level too if you want it to be a little bit more gray. That's one possibility. Others would be levels. So you have a dark end, a light end. Push the dark end up a little bit. Mid-tone level, bring it to the upper part. So take it away. That'll darken it. So those both work. You could also do exposure. But if you're doing exposure, be careful because you can really blur out and get like a dull fade to the room if you're not careful. So 3 different ways you can make this a little bit darker. So next we're going to open and place our source of light, which happens to be this little fireball. Again, you can make it as big or small as you want it. Again, you can rasterize it. You don't have to, but this is where those blending modes come into play. If you remember, some of them, especially like lighten, don't read black and white and neutrals. So for this one, again, I could have gone and cut around it with the selection tools, but this way, again, it kind of fades and blurs the edges. So there's lighten. Linear dodge also works, shows a little bit more white. Lighten color, shows a little more darker area. Again, you can decide which one you like better. Then we have to make our light source. So there's different ways of doing this. I like to just come to a rectangle or a circle. Make your fill color kind of based around what your light source is. So if you want it to be more of a little bit more orangey because it's a fire source, you know, put a little white to it though. If it's a blue flame, come to the blue. Again, you can decide kind of how you want that room to kind of feel. And then I just make, right now, since my shape is a square, I'm going to make it that size. Some people make it to isolate toward an area. I want to make it for the whole room. This one, though, I am going to rasterize. This one though, next thing, I need to put a layer mask. Now, over in your foreground background colors, you want to make sure your foreground color is white, or the top little square is white, bottom square is black. That way, when you go to gradient, you have a white to black or foreground to background fade. You also have this one we've used before. This one I'll do the reverse. Right now, again, I want, because I'm doing that raster mask, the white area is going to show more of the color. As it fades to black, it'll then fade out. So that's why this one is the one we're going to choose. And for this one, since I have kind of a single source, I'm going to have it radiate out or do a radial. You could have it do linear if you want. And then ideally think about kind of where that light source is at. If you want to, you can lower the opacity, or you can just kind of like test and decide how much you want that to kind of show. Now, here's the next part. You're going to move this layer in between the two. So either you can move the fireball up, or you can move the shape down. One thing though, you may also want to lower the opacity depending on how you want it to be seen. Like this will show more of the fire. But that's also because I have a lighten color. If I would have the straight lighten, it wouldn't matter where this is at. So there's creating a light source. And again, you can decide how much you want shown, how little you want shown. But when you're done, file, export as a JPEG or PNG.